All right, and we're back for another episode of the Department Podcast with Justin Valentovic, Joe Paolantonio, and our newest addition to the team, Stephen Bologna. He's one of our good friends from William Patterson in college. He'll be joining us for baseball, basketball, and basically everything else down the line from here on out. And basically whenever we branch into other avenues, he'll be, helping spearhead that. So welcome aboard. It's great. And we're going to be talking about the World Series. What's going on, guys?
Hey. There he is. The Dog Bologna.
Excited to be here. This is good. This is nice.
Joe's got his Duncan. Steve's got his Judge jersey in the back. What are you drinking?
Green tea.
Okay. The Joe Torre green tea, whatever that one's called. I don't know. Bigelow. Yeah.
No.
Did the ad read for that all over Yes Network and then got canned like the next week. That's tough. Tough for Joe Torre.
Tough.
Yeah. But what's not tough is the World Series because finally we are here. Games 1 and 2 are in the book. Series is all knotted up at 1-1. Game 3 is tonight. But before we talk about that game, let's talk about game 1 and 2 to start out. So which one do you want to start with? 1 or 2?
I'll say game 1.
Game 1, definitely.
Sequential.
Okay.
And I liked game 1. So game 1 was the Dodgers stars. The people, the big money, the big ticket superstars came through. That's what it was all about. It was basically the Dodgers looking over to the Tampa Bay dugout and saying, look at the star power we got. You got nothing. Betts, Bellinger, Kershaw. The recipe to success. You come in, you see the greatest starting pitcher of our generation and two of the top, to be like even at the worst, 2 of the top 7 players in baseball.
Yeah.
It's basically just like going over to Tampa Bay and be like, these are luxuries you just can't afford. It looked like a team with superstars versus a team with no superstar. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, and going into this game, it's a little risky because you do start Clayton Kershaw, like you said, best pitcher of our generation, but at the same time, he has this reputation of just collapsing in the playoffs. And if you're a team, you never want to go down 1-0, especially in the Fall Classic. And, if you were to tell me at the start of the night, Kershaw would throw a 6-inning 2-hitter with 1 earned run, I'd call you crazy. But this was just a great game. We talk about how dominant Tyler Glasnow was throughout the postseason so far, and he gets here, and the Dodgers light him up. That's just showing you the star power that they do have. And they have the star power for at least another 6 years.
Yeah. Well, for the biggest takeaway too is, Steve, you hit on it, and Joe, you too. It's Kershaw actually living up to the legendary status that he's built throughout his career, and not collapsing in the playoffs and being playoff Kershaw, which typically the wheels fall off after first time and a half really through the order, and he kept the Rays in check basically until he was taken out, and that's when the bullpen gave up the 2 extra runs, and that's what the Dodgers need, especially where we saw them in the NLCS kind of not scrambled for pitching, but they were doing patchwork and hoping it stuck, So if they can get longevity and good deep outings from him, because you assume he pitched game 1, so what, maybe game 4 or 5 roughly. And if they can get a similar outing, that puts them in the position to win. Really.
Well, they're deep enough, so he probably will pitch again in game 5. But with Kershaw though, this was a huge outing for him and the Dodgers. So many concerns, and good for Dave Roberts. Took him out after 78 pitches. He did not stretch him. He did not go too hard. You have the day off after game 2, so there was no need to make Kershaw throw a billion pitches for absolutely no reason. And I said it before, and I stick with it, and I'm happy. I think Clayton Kershaw's going to shove in his second start, and I think that's going to be the start that clinches the World Series for the Dodgers. That's it. Clayton Kershaw's going to win World Series MVP in 2020. This is exciting. On the flip side, in Tampa Bay, Tyler Glasnow is getting this superstar starting pitcher treatment on the level of like a Scherzer or a Strasburg. Tyler Glasnow is not that good. He hasn't even really been that good in the playoffs. It's not like maybe one good outing against the Yankees. And then Kevin Cash supposedly analytics guy leaves Tyler Glasnow in to throw 112 pitches and get absolutely destroyed in that 5th inning when the game was still salvageable. No idea what was going on with that.
And the thing with Tyler Glasnow is he's very similar to, honestly, like Josh Allen, where when he's on, he looks really good. But when it's bad, it's catastrophic. It just falls apart. And Joe, 112 pitches in 4 1/3, that's insane.
Terrible.
Like, the biggest thing on him is his control. You know, he had 6 Ks, but on the flip side, he had 5-6 walks. So it's like you're canceling each other out, and then that's how your pitch count gets so inflated.
I mean, the Dodgers do play that style of baseball really, really better than anyone else. That's how they really wore down the Braves in that 7-game series, and that's why the longer the series goes, the worse it could get for the Rays, because the Dodgers are going to make them blow through all these pitchers. They have, and they will continue to. I mean, it's like having guys like Jeremy Giambi and Scott Hatteberg from the A's back in the day who could just grind in the count. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you love your Moneyball references.
I mean,
Joe.
but this is technically like Moneyball 2.0, lowest budget versus biggest, or lowest payroll versus biggest payroll. And again, you have to give credit for Tampa for getting here, but going back on Glasnow, I think he gets such good treatment because he is that third starter. He has 2 starters ahead of him in Morton and Snell that are highly respected, that are looked at as better than him. So, you know, I mean, I'll say this. Glasnow, I don't think he's terrible, but I agree with you, Joe. He's not on this superstar level of pitchers.
The frontline ace that they thought they were getting, I don't think he'll hit that potential. He's a good middle of the rotation pitcher, which is, you know, what teams need eventually too. And eventually he'll fill in. But when he has, you know, Blake Snell, who's won a Cy Young, and Charlie Morton, who's been, you know, one of the better pitchers and more consistent pitchers for the past, you know, 5 years or so in baseball, you know, he's just kind of filling into his role.
Yeah. I mean, a lot does have to be said that, like, it is real that if you are kind of the ace or the only starting pitcher, there's an extra weight on your shoulders. Garrett Cole had such a weight weighing down on him in the postseason. I think against the Padres, it was going to be Clevenger. Like, if you're a pitcher who's either got a big contract or, you know, has been paid a lot of money, David Price is another great example of this, is that the expectations are so high that you have to kind of rise to them. Glasnow is, you know, basically a spring chicken out there, fresh arm. So there's not a lot of pressure on him having, you know, these other 2, you know, really great talents around him and a bullpen to back him up with. Like, there's no pressure on Glasnow outside of obviously the fact that it is the World Series and the guy just can't throw strikes consistently. Yeah. Never has been able to. I mean, great arm talent. He's still going to be great. I'm furious at Pittsburgh still.
Your old Buccos.
My old team.
But on the flip side of things, too, looking at the Rays, you know, the star power, obviously, it's nowhere near to the Dodgers. And, you know, Arozarena had a great ALCS, and when he had to face, you know, elite pitching this time around, you know, he isn't, you know, shooting the double.
Nowhere to be found, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not saying, you know, he's a complete wash of a player, but it just shows you in baseball specifically how things can change series to series.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there is a certain advantage of the Dodgers getting to be in this ballpark for like the past. It feels like they've been here for a billion years.
Yeah, like I understand, like they wanted to put the neutral site, like for the bubbles to like limit, you know, home field advantage. But at this point, when the Dodgers were playing with fans for essentially 2 series, and they were in that ballpark for 2 or 3, right? Yeah.
No, so San Diego, Atlanta, and now Tampa Bay.
So 3. You know, you're getting used to the outfield. You're getting used to the. I don't know if the lighting looks, you know, as shitty there as it is now, but you know they're used to that ballpark, and that has to be some advantage also. So if they really wanted to be pure neutral site, they should have put it in a 3rd stadium then.
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't matter though.
There had to be a way kind of around it. It's still neutral. Like, it's still not their home ballpark. It really, like, even the Rangers are strangers there. They funny, I saw a stat. Corey Seager has more home runs in that ballpark than anyone on the Rangers.
Not even what's the guy's name?
Joey the Dog Gallo.
Joey Gallo. That's crazy.
And the last thing I want to hit on for game 1, Mookie Betts got free tacos. Awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't had mine. Are they still redeemable? How long are they redeemable?
You can get it on Wednesday the 28th or the Thursday the 29th, your birthday. It's whenever the World Series would be over.
Okay,
so it's one of those days.
So can I collect one taco per stolen base, or is
no?
it just...
It's just whoever the first one to do it was, and he was the first one. Again.
Do I say Mookie Betts at the door?
No, I think they just give it to you when you order.
Okay. Oh, you have to mention it though. They're not
so
just
is Jersey.
Out.
So Joe, is Jersey Mike's going to run a promotion when Aaron Judge plays a game healthy, or like a certain stretch of games healthy, that you get a free sub?
Certain stretch of games healthy. How about whatever? Maryland, Baltimore, Crab Palace runs a special. When the Orioles win 70 games, everyone eats free.
Funny stuff, Joe. Funny stuff. So let's move on to game 2. And the Rays, for a while, they looked like they were cruising. They had a 5-run lead, 6-1, and slowly the Dodgers started chipping away. And this game could have fallen apart, but the bullpen for the Rays came through. But also, someone who was basically completely MIA in the whole postseason for the Rays, and that's Brandon Lowe, however you want to call it. Whatever. He came through for them with 2 big home runs.
That time. I mean, he's best player all regular season. It's nice that Kevin Cash never criticized Kevin Cash. Give him some respect. He never wavered from Brandon Lowe. He kept him at the top of that order, put all that trust in him, and that's got to go a long way. I mean, finally, he was quite clearly the difference in this game. Brandon Lowe doesn't hit. Rays don't win. That being said, everyone else in the lineup is like no one is hitting. No one's hitting. Even Randy Arozarena, not like they're walking him. They're not even pitching to him. That's it. Like that's really going to be it. So if Lau's going to hit, then we're looking at a different series. But like right now, the Rays offense, they did put up 6 runs, but it's an ugly 6 runs. It's like they just don't look competitive, especially toward the bottom of the order.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do, in this game specifically, is that the Dodgers did go with the opener method, and they used 4 different pitchers within the first 4 innings. And Dustin May, I mean, I know he's very young and a little inexperienced, but he got 4 hits. Again, this is a game, the opener method, I'm not a fan of the opener method personally, but I'm sure Joe, analytics boy, it probably works in that regard, but I'm just not a fan of it.
It's funny that, like, teams are trying to do the opener against the Rays, who literally constructed this whole idea. And you would think the team who was the architect for it would know how to at least take advantage of it. Because we see, 1 pinch hitter, 2 pinch hitter, 3 pinch hitters for the Rays in a game when you have a DH. You don't need it. So literally the minute they see a matchup that doesn't favor them, they pull off their bench.
This opener, like the opener method is great when it's done correctly. To start Tony Gonsolin, who's a solid pitcher, and then just yank him after 1 1/3 for no real reason, just because it's like doing donuts in the parking lot because no one else is around. So you're just gonna do it just because you have a day off tomorrow. It doesn't even like okay. I mean, I love Dylan Floro. Really happy he was the second guy out of the pen. Dustin May should not come in like the middle of an inning. Dustin May should not have inherited runners. Dustin May should not be coming out in relief in like the 5th, 6th inning.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where I think the shortcomings could happen for the Dodgers, is that May is a starter, by design and by trade.
Yeah.
And he's used to starting innings clean with no runners on and no outs. So you bring him in with 2 on, 1 out. It's like, go get out. It's like, you have to shift your entire pitching style and your entire mindset to attack it that way. And throughout this postseason, he's been their kind of go-to swingman, which that's great if you want him to be that, type of arm, but you should have started earlier in the season, not in the postseason.
Oh yeah, correct. I mean, it's the same thing. They had J Happ come out of the bullpen, and obviously it didn't work. It was it's okay for the Dodgers to drop a game against Blake Snell when he was starting. But the problem is that Blake Snell didn't even look that good. He looked hittable. He was not throwing a tremendous amount of strikes. He wasn't very sharp. And I mean, this is a big problem for Tampa Bay. Not a lot of people are talking about this. Nick Anderson, who was lockdown in the regular season, like he looked like prime Mariano, could not hit him. And he's been touchable. I'm gonna get a look at the game log for him. But he's been giving up runs. And that's a problem. Your relief ace, can't give up a run. Yeah, he's given up a run in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive outings.
Terrible.
It's not good. That's their best reliever. Yeah. So it's now Diego Castillo against the world, and he has got a rubber arm, so that's okay. He can throw 40 pitches a night, but you gotta watch out.
No, and that's exactly it, because it's kind of the same thing where. And yeah, what's up, Steve?
Not much. How about you?
No. I'm just saying. Blake Snell has not looked good this entire postseason. I mean, obviously, you remember his first start against the Yankees where he got shelled. It just hasn't been looking that good. And again, this is now 2 of your starting pitchers. One Glasnow has gotten rocked, and Snell, he's also gotten a touch too. I mean, 2 earned runs. Luckily, your offense were able to put up 5 at the time he gave up 2. But still, really, you're so much on this bullpen that the Dodgers are probably going to find an answer for this either game 3 tonight or in games coming forward.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like on paper, the pitching matchup, it's very comparable for the 3 starters for each team, basically. Kershaw, Buehler, and then on the flip, and then on the flip side of things, you have Morton, Snell, and Glasnow. But in the postseason, Buehler and Kershaw have been a lot better than Snell and Glasnow have been. And at that point, it's just Charlie Morton who's just hoping to not get blown up.
Well, Morton is nails. Morton is absolutely stud in the postseason. If there was any doubt about that, it's over. And I think Morton's going to give Tampa Bay their best chance to win tonight. It's gonna be interesting because this is like this isn't the Astros that are. Even though the Astros, have had this dynasty, they do not take a lot of pitches. They don't walk a lot. They get a lot of their contact early in the count. So Charlie Morton was able to just breeze through that game 7. He had something like 12 pitches through like 6 or 5 innings in game 7. It was ridiculous. He didn't throw he didn't throw pitches. It's not going to happen Friday night against the Dodgers. It's not going to happen. But can he still get outs? Can he still get that out pitch, that strikeout pitch? I don't know. I don't know.
So then let's kind of talk about game 3 tonight. It's Morton versus Walker Buehler in his extremely tight pants, which the fact that that's a storyline now is it looks like straight out like the 90s. Like it is just straight nut huggers at times.
He won't talk about it either.
Don't ask him.
Don't ask him.
Did they like ship him the wrong pants? Like this wasn't like this for like the CS, right? Like I don't recall him looking like that.
No, you'd have heard about it.
Yeah,
it was when did this become an issue?
I think just the World
first
Series.
Start against the Padres. No, was it?
Have to look up Walker Buehler pants now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see how far this goes back.
Storyline.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't even pitched in the World Series yet. I don't like what.
Is this like the classic Jordan number 45 where they forgot his jersey? He forgot his pants.
He didn't pitch in the World Series.
That's true.
So, looking at game 3, this is a pivotal game right now because right now it's basically just best of 5. And if you win game 3, you get the momentum going into games 4 and 5, and then you could potentially close it out. So, yeah, well, that's how it works. So, who do you like in this game?
Ooh, Walker Buehler is a better pitcher than Charlie Morton. As great as Charlie Morton is in the postseason, Walker Buehler is a better pitcher in the postseason. And I like the Dodgers matchup against Chuck Morton. I mean, lefties. You're going to see Jock. You're going to see Cody. You're going to see Max. They dog righties. Dog them. They do the puppy word to them. So yeah,
Which you can say here.
Give me the Dodgies.
See, this is tough because you have two pitchers, one in Walker Buehler that has been lights out in the postseason for the Dodgers since he got called up. He had a start last year against the Red Sox. 2 years ago, his last World Series start against the Red Sox, and he had a great outing. At the same time, in his career with the Rays in the postseason, Charlie Morton's 5-0. So when it comes down to that, I'm going to go off better lineup, and that's clearly the Dodgers. I mean, you talk about star power. The Dodgers are not just, Muncy, Bellinger, Betts. It's Will Smith. It's Kike Hernandez. It's Corey Seager. It's Jock Peterson. The list goes on and on and on. So for that case, I'm going to have to go Dodgers on this one.
And like you said, Steve, because I like the points, like going off the best lineup, it's like the pitching matchup can be, chalk, like even at this point, which it is with Walker Buehler and Charlie Morton, just the consistency and, just the ability to show up and show out in the postseason. But every single time it's going to be advantage Dodgers because of Mookie Betts, Bellinger, Seager. Like, it's not even like the only really non-homegrown guy is Betts, because honestly, at this point, I count Turner as almost homegrown, even though he had, Baltimore
He's been there for years. Yeah.
He Baltimore Mets, they don't count, and Muncy, he was a Rule 5 guy. Hernandez, guy they drafted and brought up. Like, this team is built for sustained winning for a long time.
Yeah, no, this is going to be the recipe for success. You're going to see Walker Buehler on the mound, Mookie Betts, and right. Like, you're going to see this like exact lineup, give or take like a few, for the Dodgers playing in big games for a very, very long time. And it's exciting. It's terrible for the National League. It's really upsetting for them. But yeah, no, they got Mookie. They got Mookie Betts. The Red Sox traded Mookie Betts, and now he's on the Dodgers. It still doesn't seem believable because it's insane that the Red Sox would do that. But they're a super team. They're the Chiefs. They're the Lakers.
And it's amazing because, like, really, he's the only guy they went out and got. Like, they built this team from the ground up, from homegrown. Like, people say, like, oh, Dodgers, they're buying this team. When in reality, they're not buying it. They're just developing guys and paying them to stay. The only other free agent they really got was AJ Pollock, and he's not good.
He was supposed to be there, the center field for him, and then clear injury concerns all the time. Really bad stuff.
And it's funny, this team, yes, with Mookie Betts, they're incredible. You have to remember, this team's made the World Series 2 times now without Mookie Betts. And, last year, obviously, they hit a hot Nationals team. But still, a team without Mookie Betts that can make the World Series. And now a team with Mookie Betts, it just shows that they were one piece away. And what a guy to go out and get. I don't know if you guys saw. I saw a report somewhere that said the Red Sox offered Betts a very similar deal, but he just wanted out.
Yeah, and it comes down to, one, Boston's a shitty city to play in if, all the stuff we've heard that's come out for, unfortunately, that people say again towards the African-American players. And maybe he just wanted to change his scenery, and he knew, Boston was going to look like this where they wanted to rip it apart.
Mookie Betts sees that the Red Sox rebuild every 3 to 4 years. Why would you want to commit to a 12-year contract when that's going to happen 3 or 4 times during your contract? Besides the fact that you're in LA, which is a much better market, so he can really become not just a great baseball player, but a brand. Mookie Betts really has the opportunity to, become a celebrity.
And we've seen him explode, like this season alone, to being the clear second best player in baseball, but also the clear second biggest face in baseball now too.
Yeah, he's the second best player in baseball. But I if he puts up a big series, we could be talking about him being we're talking about LeBron, Mahomes, bets, like just the names, you know.
And here's my thing: it's like, yeah, the Dodgers have been to World Series 2 times in a row, right? But they haven't got it done yet. So if they win this year, he wins, World Series MVP, you could make the argument that he got them over the hump. Obviously,
the Astros World Series is tough because they were cheating and they got it to 7 games. So the Astros World Series, I'm not going to just like completely, lambaste the Dodgers for. The Red Sox World Series, absolutely. The Red Sox World Series, it wasn't even competitive. It took them 18 innings just to win their only game. So, yeah, no, the Red Sox series was like.
So, in closing, Game 3 tonight, Joe and Steve, you both took the Dodgers. I'm taking the Dodgers. But I still am going to stick with my pick for the Rays to win it all in 7 games.
With Austin Meadows
as MVP. Yeah, that one's not looking great.
I don't know why he doesn't play.
Cash loves the platoon. If there's a lefty pitcher, Meadows' ass is on the bench.
And also, he's not like this tremendous field. Like, their outfield is so good with Marco Kiermaier and Randy that, like, if a Meadows wants to play, it's going to be as the DH, and they like to shuffle Yandy and Renfroe. If he was like hitting, then love it, but thanks, Pittsburgh.
Doesn't offer that much. But with that, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Department Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll be back for the next episode.